Okay, good everyone, and welcome to another Microsoft Excel session. Today, our guest speaker is Victor Momoh, and we're going to be looking at custom number formatting tips. So the Microsoft Excel and data analysis community learning is brought to you by UrBizEdge, and UrBizEdge is a registered Microsoft consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, data analysis, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. They also specialize in helping companies and high-value professionals bring on top of their business data. So they have online classes. We also have physical classes. I'll share the link all in the chat box. So you can register and can reach out to us for your Excel classes, financial modeling, Power BI, PowerQuery, all of that. So today our guest speaker is Victor, and Victor is a Microsoft MVP. He's also a certified Microsoft Excel expert and trainer with a passion for knowledge sharing. Teaching stems from teaching parents. So Victor, along with some MVPs, they actually started the Microsoft Excel user group, which is powered by its learning community also. And he also volunteers for Microsoft Excel training for non-profit organization. And he also has a YouTube channel with over 1,200 followers and 3,000 followers on LinkedIn. Hello, Victor.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
Over to you, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So just keep an eye on the time for me,
Okay. Yeah.
That's probably the more challenging part than even Excel itself.
Okay, so Fayad is aiding you in the comment section.
Oh, Faraz is here. What's Faraz doing here? Faraz. All the way from Saudi Arabia. Thank you, Faraz, my good brother. Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me be sure I'm sharing what I need to share. Share screen. Okay, this looks like what I need to share.
Okay, yes, continue screen.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to see if I can put the chat here. So, okay, so I assume you can see this. Okay, good. All right, so good afternoon. I think for most people in Nigeria, it's afternoon. If you are dialing in from the US, it's morning. For Faraz in Saudi Arabia, it's probably evening, maybe 2-3 hours ahead of us. So thank you, first of all, Ifeanyi, Michael, UrBizEdge community for this opportunity. I always say it and I mean it. I don't take these opportunities for granted, because there are so many experts around. So when you call me, I don't see it as, it's not a right, it's really just a privilege. So, thank you very much for always giving us a platform to share knowledge. So thank you so much for that. And to everyone who has joined in, thank you for, joining in. So what we'll be talking about today is, custom number formatting, and it's really old school. Why I say old school is that if you go to a lot of sessions these days, what you hear them talk about are, the new big things. You hear about maybe lambdas, office scripts, yeah, maybe Power Automate, something Faraz would like, PowerQuery, and maybe all the new, power tools. Yeah, but some of us, still stick to the fundamentals. Well, maybe you can't blame us. We'll teach what we know. Okay, so this is like going back to Excel 101, and everybody's probably familiar with this, but I just felt it was important to kind of maybe, speak a little on it, just show a few things on, not just number formatting, but custom number formatting. A lot of people use them, but sometimes we don't really understand what we are looking at. We just know, okay, I click this and this works, but what exactly do some of those parameters mean? Those are some of the things I want to try and, just shed, some light on. And it's one of those interesting topics. I'm always scared to take it because I always feel like there's something there that may just, trip me, but I'm always up for a challenge. Okay, so when we talk about formatting, just getting into it straight up, formatting essentially just controls, how this should be things. Sorry, I will not go down posterity writing bad grammar. So formatting, controls how things or values, are displayed. And it's very important. Oh, there was a sheet I used I should have added here, but oh my God, I actually forgot. Okay, that's fine. I would make do with, what I have here. So when I say it controls how things or values are displayed, this is to say that, what you see most times is not what it is. And I'll explain what I mean. Because sometimes you're looking into a cell and you're seeing, 2. And you do that cell multiplied by 2 and you're expecting to get 4 and you don't get 4 and you're like, okay, what's going on here? So you're seeing a 2, but what is really in the cell, the value in the cell is not 2. And what's making, you have that confusion is really, the formatting. So formatting ideally is not supposed to change the value in the cell. It's just supposed to change, what you see. Let me give a simple example. So it's not like I'm just, theorizing. Okay, so this is 1.5 here, okay? Everybody knows that, I can decide to show this with no decimal place. Let me do it simply the way most of you would do it. Many ways to get to, the format cell. Some people could decide to go through, maybe font. Some people will press Control-1. Some people would right-click and say format cells. Anyhow, just get there. Okay, so when you get here, you go to number. You can do number and you can say, I want 0 decimal places. Okay, now you say you want 0 decimal places. See what happens now. Now you now see a 2 in that cell. Now where this gets to trip you is when you now do this equals to this times 2. What's everybody expecting to see? We're expecting to see 4, right? But now we are seeing 3. And this is where the confusion now starts. And we are like, okay, wait, what's going on? This is 2 multiplied by 2 and it's giving me 3. It's supposed to be 4. But that's the point here. Is the reason why this looks like a 2. If you look into the formula bar, you would see that the actual value there is a 1.5, and 1.5 times 2 is 3. So Excel is right, and that's one thing I always say a lot, that's the fundamental thing you must assume. Excel is always right. You need to figure out, what wrong you have done. So formatting is why 1.5 appears like 2. And there are so many ways you can play with formatting and make things appear like what they are not. This can be good and this can be dangerous at the same time. Because if you are not careful, you could go and tell your boss, oh, yes, sir, the answer is 3. Or, and you're like, oh, no, the answer is not 3. The answer is actually 4. You're not even sure what it is. Because formatting can show you different answers. I will mess with it a little, just to make that point. But that's really, the background of, formatting. Saying that fundamentally, it doesn't change the value in the cell. It only changes what you see. Okay, so I think I have overflogged that point. Now, there's a catch to this, and I'll show you. It's a setting in Excel which nobody should go and mess with, but it's just for your information and just for you to know that there's something like that. And one good thing that Microsoft has done is that the default for Microsoft is that this setting is turned off because it's potentially dangerous. And I explain. Okay, let me maybe go back and do the 1.5. Okay, so that's the 1.5. Good. So now, just follow me here. I want to show you something. So I'm going to Excel options. I typically use Alt-T-O, Alt Tango Oscar. That's what I use. You can get it any other way you want. I'll go to advanced and I'll scroll down. Follow me here. So let me see. Good. So look at this here. When calculating this workbook, right, you see this option here. It says set precision as displayed. What this means is that whatever you see, Excel, whatever you're seeing in terms of what is visible to you, that's what you should use for your calculation, not what you have inside the cell. So let's do an example just to see. So you can see that by default, this is not checked, okay? And that's a good thing. So let me set it up. Okay, it says data will permanently lose accuracy. Fine, let's just do it. Okay, so now let's come here and do equals to this times 2. What has happened? It's now showing 4, even though what I wrote in the cell initially was what, 1.5. But because of that setting, it's pretty much now, it's changed the 1.5, to 2, and it's using the 2 for the calculation. So it's just for you to know that that setting exists. It's not for you to go and mess with it. So that I don't mess up the rest of my session, I'm going to go back and I'm going to change it. But it's just one of those things that you just need to know exists, in Excel. So set precision as displayed, will use it as it sees it, okay? It's not going to use the value in the cell, but it's going to use whatever it is formatted to. And that's not how most of us, do our calculations. Our calculations are based on what we have in the cell and not what we can see. Okay, so good. So I talked about that. Okay, it's the same thing too. I'm still saying that it's not just about a cell. Sometimes even on a chart, you can actually change the way, the axes look like, the data labels look like, and that's all formatting, at work. Okay, so now next thing is that, Excel is also intelligent enough, to guess what the formats are based on characters. Have you noticed that whenever you try to start anything and you put a slash, Excel is thinking it could be a date, it could be a fraction. But take an example. If I just type 3/4 and I press enter, you see, Excel says 3/4. So 3 for the day, 4 for the month, April. Okay, so Excel does, some of these things, by default. It's the same thing too. Once you put a hyphen, it starts to guess that it's a date. But of course, it has to be, a date that makes sense, right? So if I do something like 1510, Excel is already thinking, now this is a hyphen. The first one I used a slash, now I'm using a hyphen. But of course, if you are using a number like maybe say 1717, Excel cannot think a date there, right? Because you cannot have 17th month and 17th day. You can have the 17th day in any month, but you can't have the 17th day of the 17th month. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's one thing Excel also does. When you also put like a capital E, Excel starts to think that maybe you want to put an exponential format. So take an example, right? I just put 2E, 4. Okay, so Excel knows I'm trying to say 2 times 10 raised to the power 4. So Excel has some defaults. It already, some settings it already knows, and it's intelligent enough to guess, So you have to be careful too, because sometimes it may give you what you don't want. Like when I was saying 3/4, right? I mean, I've been thinking of a fraction, 3/4. But naturally the Excel will change it, to a date. So sometimes in that case, I may want to do equals to 3/4 so that it knows that, for sure this is, a fraction. Now, the same thing with like a percentage, right? You know that most times if you want to put in a percentage into a cell, you can just type it in like what, 12%, right? You can do that. And this automatically is 0.12 if you change it to general format. There's a catch to this too that can determine whether Excel will take it as a percentage or take it as a value. Do I show you or do I not show you? Let me just show it. Somebody's like, why are you asking us if you want to or not? Well, I won't dwell on it, but just know that here you have this enable automatic percent entry. If you set this to true, you can do exactly what I did. If you turn this off and you format a cell as percentage and you type a number in there, Excel doesn't think that you've put a percentage there. So if I type 12 in such a case, Excel will make it 1200 because doesn't understand this. This is saying enable automatic percent entry, which is like what I just did, 12%. But if you turn this off and you format a cell as percentage, if you type 12, what you will see there is not 12, you see 1200 because Excel doesn't understand that you're trying to do 12%. But so that I don't confuse you more than that, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so that's formatting. I've tried to make it as simple as I think I can. It's just to say that I used to use an example to describe formatting, but like I always say, it's an example that gets me into trouble. So most times I stay away from it. But I will try it, just think of maybe Victor doing, makeup, and I appear, I'm dark-skinned by default, right? But I could be made up by, the makeup artist, and I could look very fair. And maybe people seeing me on this video and seeing my face are like, wow, that guy is a very fair guy. The truth is I appear fair, but when the chips are down and water touches the face, I go back to what I really am, which is, the black guy that I am. So the point is that, yes, I could be formatted, which is I could be made up to look like I'm fair, but fundamentally, and at the end of the day, I'm a dark guy. And that's how it is in Excel. So you can make formatting, you can use formatting to make things appear in a certain way, but it doesn't change, the underlying value in the cell. Okay, so now we're just talking about formatting in the normal sense of formatting. Most people can do this. I want to see only one decimal place. I don't want to see a decimal place. I want to put a $sign. I want to use accounting format, general, scientific, dates, and all of that. But when we talk about custom number formatting, we are talking about essentially, the formatting that doesn't exist already. You're trying to customize it. So you're trying to create your own. That's really, what I want to dwell on. Okay. So not so much of just the normal, I press Control-1 and I say, oh, no decimal place. That's simple. But I'm here to do very simple things. You would agree with me when I'm done. Hopefully. I always say that, but I end up confusing even myself. Okay. So when you go into custom formatting, and I will show you, a classic example, so it doesn't look like I'm just, beating around the bush and just talking, theory. There's general, when you say general format, that means, just take things the way they are. You know that if you put a date in a cell I could write this and say 12th of March 22, right? This is a date. If I put this to, you press Control Shift and tilde. Control Shift and tilde would format it in, put it into general format. If you do Control Shift tilde, you see that it's a number, right? So general format, which you can also see at the top here, general format just says, nothing special. Don't do any of the dates. Don't do any of the, accounting, scientific time. Just leave it as it is. Okay. So if you put a percentage and change it to general, instead of 12%, it will show as 0.12. Okay. So that's general, right? Now, when you also deal with custom formatting, you will see things like hash, right? You will see the hash, which means a lot of things in Excel now. It could mean, a spilled range, but it could be used in hyperlinks too. If you've ever watched my videos on hyperlinks, you will see me talk about that. But in the context of custom formatting, as in a hash is a digit placeholder. It's used to display, significant digits. So what I mean, for example, just let me not get into the custom formats yet, but I will get in for sure. If you write a number like maybe say 233, okay, and you choose to format it like this, you try to format it with say hash. Look at this. This is 233, but you have 4 hashes, but you have 3 numbers. Okay. Like I said, a hash doesn't display insignificant digits. So if I were using a different format, what it would do, it would to force these 3 digits to appear like 4. Okay. But see, if you do this, it's still going to give you the same thing, right? It's never going to add that 4th digit, even though the format says I should have 4 digits. But that's the difference between it and 0, for example. When you deal with 0, if you put 4 zeros here, I'm actually doing some funky things behind. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm actually using some codes to change the formatting. Once I put the formatting on the left cell, I press a shortcut that I have created. It will format the cell on the right to that. So when I put 000 as my format, you can see that that same 233 now shows up with a 0233. So what it means here is that when you have, as in the format, more digits than what you have in the number, Excel would add those insignificant digits. You get what I mean? So if this was like 6 zeros, for example, let's make this 6 zeros. Okay, and you come here and you format this one, it would show those extra 3 because it always wants to honor the number of digits. But that's not what happens with hash. So you have to think about that when you're trying to put a format. Do you want it to have a leading 0 behind, or you just want it to, work based on whatever it is you're seeing? So that's one thing you need to think about. But that's the difference between hash and 0 in the context of custom formatting. I can say a little more on it, but let's leave it at that. Okay, then you have the underscore too when you're dealing with formatting. What the underscore does is that, as in, it leaves a space that is equal to the width of the next character. So what I mean is that if I do something like this, if I do underscore and asterisk, what it means is that it looks at what is the width of the asterisk, how wide is the asterisk. Based on that, it's going to leave a space that is equal to that width of the asterisk in the formatting. You will see an example, because right now I'm just trying to explain, but I would show you, all of this. Okay. The same thing with, even an asterisk in itself. An asterisk just says, oh, okay, repeat a particular character, to fill up the entire cell. You will see it. It doesn't seem like it has very, very practical uses, but it's just good to know that, so that when you see the formatting string, you can kind of understand it. Okay, so the question mark is just a digit placeholder. It adds spaces for insignificant zeros. Your @ is your text placeholder. Okay, so I would explain more on this. I just decided to put this introductory sheet together. It still sounds a little like, oh, what's he talking about? You'll see it when I get into it. Let me skip these 2 guys. I've put a lot of things here. Let me skip all this and let me come into this sheet so that I can properly explain what it is I want to do. Okay, so let me show you an example of a custom format. Okay, so let me just click Control-1. Let's go to custom. So you can see you have a lot of formats here, right? But you have custom. Okay, so when you go to custom, I want to show you like a complex one. And you will see a lot that I was the one who created them. Okay, so you see all this color, this, that's my handwork. Let's look for some of the ones that Excel maybe has. Yes, stuff like this. It looks very complex, but you can see some of the things I mentioned over there. You can see an underscore. You can see an @ which is a text placeholder. You can see a hash. You can see a 0, like I mentioned. You can also see, I'm not seeing so clearly, I can see an asterisk, and then I can see something that probably looks like a pound sign. if that's a euro, but I think it's more a pound than a euro. Okay, so this is kind of a very complex format, but these are some of the things that you may want to build, and every use case is different. Most times you will find a format in Excel that suits your purpose. But what I'm trying to do in this session is to try and explain to you, like, okay, what do these things mean and how do you use them? Okay, so let's move faster. So typically when you want to format in Excel formats can have 4 sections within the format. So A, this, B, this, C, this, D. Now, let's increase the font here a little. Let's do 14, and maybe I could zoom in a little. But if it's not legible enough, you just let me know. Okay, so it has 4 sections. Okay, so A, B, C, and D. Now, for some people, it's not in every country that a comma is actually, a comma separator. For some people, a semicolon is what they use as commas. So when they deal with custom number formatting, you'll be seeing some very different things, but you must understand that. But for us, who use like, the American layout and the American keyboard, regional settings from the US, this is what we will see. I just had to state that in case there are some people from, some of those other countries, on the call. Okay, so now it has 4 sections, and this is what you need to know. That the first section is what you use to format positive numbers. Okay, so the first one formats positive. The next one is what formats the negative numbers. The next one is what formats 0, that determines how 0 will look like. Then the last one is what determines how text will look like. This is very standard. A lot of us probably know this. Okay, so those are your ABCDs. So whatever you put first will determine how positive numbers will look like. Next is negative, next is 0, next is text. It sounds like English at this point until we do it. But one thing you need to know is that you don't need to put the 4 of them. Okay, so I've tried to just explain over here at the top, what would happen if you put only one. So if you put one section, meaning you're only giving it one format, okay, it's going to use that format for all the 4. It's going to use that format for positive, negative, 0, and text. Of course, what else would it do? Because it's only saying one format. If you give it 2, it's going to use that for positives and 0. Note that. And then the second one is going to be used for negative. So if there are 2, the first one will be used for positive and 0. The next one will be used for negative. If you now give it 3, okay, now if you give it 3, it's going to go in order now. So the first one will be positive, the second will be negative, the third will be 0. It's not going to bother with text. If you now give it the 4, then the 4 is where I actually started from, which is it's going to do positive, negative, 0, and text. So let's take an example. So I'm going to put some numbers here, so that we can see them. Do I want to use this? This sheet is it's actually looking a little clumsy at this point. So allow me, to come here. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few random numbers. Let's just put a few random numbers from, say, -5 to 5. Okay, I expected the 0 to be in there somewhere. There's 1. All right, good. So let me just add another 0. And let's put a text. Faraz is here, so let me use Faraz. Okay, so I was saying about, the formats. Okay, so do I bring maybe what I had on the other sheet here, maybe just so that people can still have that as a reference? I was not just liking the way that sheet was looking. It was kind of looking, a little rough. Okay, so now I said, first we do positive, negative, 0, and text. So let me create a long format that does everything so that you kind of see what happens. And what I'm doing in this session is the dialog box, this dialog box here, when I put the formats in here, they are looking very tiny to me. Sorry, my vision isn't exactly the best right now. So what I'm doing is I will put the format in here so that we can all see it legibly, or maybe I'm a bit selfish for myself. And I'm assuming that, it's the same thing as if you go in there and put in the format yourself. I'm just using a trick to do this. Okay, so let's do this. So for positive numbers, let's assume I want to show positive numbers to have 2 decimal places. So now I can start with a 0 or a hash. That doesn't really change anything, right? But now at this point, I want it to always show 2 decimal places. If I do hash, that's not likely going to work. Why? Because don't forget that hash is not going to introduce numbers that don't exist. So if a number doesn't have decimal places, if you do hash, it doesn't make any difference. But if you want it to always have, 2 decimal places, then you should be using 0, 0. Okay? Because I said 0 is what would add what? Insignificant zeros. They are not there, but it can make it appear. Okay, so let me put this as positive. Note what I'm doing. Now for the negatives, I'm just going to do about the same thing. I want to put negatives in bracket. I think this is how accountants like to see it. I'm not an accountant, so I'll do 0.00 here. Okay, so I'm just doing negative. For 0, now everybody may want 0 to look like 0, but I could decide, no, I don't want 0 to look like 0. I want 0 to look like, okay, 0.00 for now, so that I don't lose everybody. Then for text, I want the text to always show, I want the text to always show Victor. Watch this. This is going to mess with some things here, okay? So this is the format I want to use. So the format is saying that what? As in positives would have this, negatives will be in brackets, 0 will show at 0.00, text would always show as Victor. So let's now do the formatting for these guys. So, okay, let's see. I didn't finish this. This is wrong. This is supposed to be a semicolon. Okay. The workbook will be shared after the session. Okay, somebody's saying, yeah, I can share the workbook. Never a problem. Never a problem. Okay, so watch now. So now, do you see what has happened? I formatted using this format. This number is negative. Do you see negative? It's using the negative format, which is the second one. The positive numbers, do you see the positives? All the positives are the way they should be. Anyone that is 0 is showing up as what? 0.00. All the text are showing up as Victor. This is why I say formatting is dangerous. It could give you the wrong impression. What is in this cell? What is actually in this cell is Farah's. But because of formatting, it's showing up as what? Victor. Look at this here. This cell actually has Tunde in there, but it's showing up as Victor. So formatting is good. It could be bad. But the point is you must understand, you must understand the format. Okay. So, but you can see how it works, right? So the first one is used for positive, next negative, next 0, and next is used for text. Okay. So again, you can test all those things I said in the previous session here, in this previous sheet, to say when you have 2, when you have 1, how, as in that works. Okay. So that's, it's in the simplest form. But now we start to get into, the slightly complex ones. But this is the fundamental thing that you need to understand, that there could be 4 sections. You don't have to have the 4, right? But you must understand if you are giving it 1, 2, 3, or 4, what would Excel interpret it as? That's the important thing for you to know. Okay, so this is kind of how, it works. Now, let's take this, a notch higher. That there are some things you can also do, with formatting, beyond just the format itself. So when we talk about custom number format, it's not just about the number formatting. It could also be about, the color you want to see. Okay, so now Excel already has some default colors that you can introduce. A couple of them are like the red, the white, the black, the magenta, the yellow, the blue. So those ones are standard colors. If you put them in there in square brackets, the format would, respond accordingly. Okay, but now Excel has more colors. Excel has 56 colors, essentially, color 1 to 56. And I can show you, what they look like, that you can use for the formatting. But let me just show you how to introduce a color if you want to, make this a little more complex. So now what I want to do is, I would think everybody maybe understands it up to this point. Okay, if you do, hopefully. If you don't, please just raise your hand or put a comment, in the chat. I can, take it again. Okay. So now let's take this a notch higher. See what I want to do. So just follow what I say and then I'll do it. I want the positive numbers to show as green. I want the negative numbers to show as red. I want 0 to show as blue. Okay. I think I said green, red, blue. Okay. So now how do I do that? What you do is, within the section of the positive, in square brackets, because this is a standard color, you just put in square bracket the color you want. So you put green. Okay, so what this means is that it's going to use that number formatting, but it's also going to use the color green. This is for positive. Let me jump to the negative section, which is after the semicolon. Okay, so after the semicolon, I want this to be what? Red. I put this in square brackets. I come to this one, I want this to be blue. I put this in square brackets too. Blue. Okay, and I have that. Right? Now I'm not doing anything with the text. I could decide to do something with the text. Maybe I use magenta. Somebody's like, what color is that? Well, you'll see it when it comes up. So let me make that the format for all of them. So I'm now going to run my code to kind of do this. Now, do you see what just happened? So by doing this format now, you can see here that, and let's follow if it makes sense. The positives are green. As you can see, this is a positive number, number 4. It's green. Now, the negatives are red. All the guys in parentheses are red. You can see that all the text are magenta, which is some pinkish flavor. And you can see that all the zeros are what? Are blue. So now, I'm building this up gradually so that when you see a format that looks this complex, you don't start to think like, oh, what's going on here? It's really simple if you understand the different sections. You just need to break it down. Take it one step at a time. Okay, what is the positive? What is the negative? What is zero? And what is text? And you can see how it goes. Okay, now you could also have decided that for your zero, you don't want to see it as zero. You want to see it as, you don't want to see it as 0.00. You want to see it as the text zero. Okay, so you could change this 0.00. Instead of saying 0.00, you could put it in double quotes and put the word zero. So anytime it is zero, it's going to show the word zero instead. Watch this. Let's do the format again. Do you see that? So you can see now that the zeros are now showing up as what? Zero. So what I'm showing you now is really back to the fundamental point that formatting just changes the way things appear. There are sometimes that for good reasons, maybe that's the part you are interested in, like, okay, Victor, after all this theory, where do we use it? But it's important to know the theory, and I'm a principal theorist because I always feel when you understand it, the application you will find use for it, but you must understand how it works first. Okay, so this is now you can see that I started off simple, but now I've built it and it looks very complex. But it's not really complex. You just need to break it down, bit by bit. So let me show you something else that you could do in addition to the colors. Like I said, Excel has, in addition to these standard colors, it has 56 colors. Color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 56. The color is spelled without a U, which is the American way of spelling color, right? So if you ever type color with a U, you may be surprised that the format doesn't work for you. Okay, so in that case, you get tripped. So I think I have done something here where I just created the formats with the 56 of them. Okay, so you can see any color you see here represents, whatever that color is. So you can see that color 6 is looking a little yellowish, color 3 is like your red. So for the green, this green looks a little too light. So most times people use color 10. They use color 10 for their green. So if you want to use this color 10, instead of writing green in square brackets, you write color 10. So let's go back to the other sheet and do that. So instead of writing green now, let's say I want that darkish green there. I will change this and I will do color space 10. Did everybody see that? So color 10. So Excel knows those colors. I only showed you over there so that you see what they are. Okay, so let's make it color 10 and then let's format all of them. Okay, so do you see now that I have a different shade of green, which is color 10. So you just need to know, what those colors are. You can always write the code. If you write the code and you see the color, you know what it is, right? So those are the 56 colors, so you can see most of them. So you can choose whichever one you want and add it to your formatting. So when you're formatting, you're not just formatting the numbers, you can also format, the colors. And, this is something that is really interesting. So this is hopefully, understandable by all. But again, like I said, I'll share the workbook. The recording would be, available. I've been doing this for years now, and the formatting still gets me confused sometimes. So don't be too hard on yourself if you absolutely don't understand everything right now. I think I owe most of what I know on this to John Wackenbach. When I read Excel Bible 2010, the guy kind of detailed. In fact, I probably have it open here. Yeah. So there's no shame. I have it. You can see. So I went to do some revision before coming here. So that was where I learned most of what I learned. But every now and then, you always make reference, to his book. I don't know why he doesn't do Excel anymore, but yeah, he's a great guy. Okay, so let's now talk a little, in terms of, scaling. And this is one that we get to use, a lot of times. Sometimes you have numbers that are very large and you don't want to show them, with such, in the raw formatting. You want to kind of scale them. When I mean scale is you want to make a number appear in thousands. You want to make a number appear in in millions. So that's what I want to show you, right now. So let's take this example. So what I've done here is just to show you the raw number. Okay, this is the raw number. This is the format we're going to use, and you see what it kind of looks like. Okay, so now, if you are just formatting, within the number itself, if you have a comma within, your custom format, it's a comma. It's going to act as a comma separator. Do you understand what I mean? Because when you write 1,000, some people like to see 1,000 like this. Okay, some other people will just write it this way. but you may want to see it with commas, and it becomes very useful when you have large numbers. And if Ahmed Oyelowo is on the call, we know that we had something like that recently on Twitter. Somebody had a chat. The numbers were so huge, maybe like 9, 10 digits. We are like, we don't know what's going on here. Can you scale this so that we can see if this is millions, billions, and all of that? So it's important. But you must know that when the comma becomes the last character in your formatting, then it is not used as a comma separator. It is used as a divisor. A comma here means divide by 1000. So let me explain with an example. Simple. Some people maybe may prefer if I open the custom format, but please, if you don't have any problem with this, I can keep going with this. This is the format. I'm doing exactly what you would do if you just go here and put it in here. I'm only doing it on the cell, but I think it's probably even better. Okay, so now look at this example. See, this number here is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you do hash comma, what you are saying is that scale it by 1000. So let's do this here. So sorry, let me put the number. I need to put the number back in here. Now let's scale this. So once you scale it, do you see what happens? It divides it by 1000, and that's why it puts it as what? 1346. Somebody is like, oh, it should be 1345.678, but I didn't give room for decimals. If I wanted it to have decimals compulsorily, what should I have done? I should have made sure that I put here 0.00. Don't forget, I'm making sure my comma is the last thing. So what would this mean? It means that it must show two decimal places. So this should show me 135.68. Let's see if I'm correct. Okay. 1345.68. Okay, so that's what the comma does. So if you ever want to have a large number and you now want to show things in, scaled by 1000, just use a comma. Okay, so that's what I did here. Now you can see here, I've scaled it by using the comma and I'm showing 2 decimal places. It's the same thing here. This one too, I scale it by 1000, so that becomes 1233, and it still has the 0.25. Okay, now since you know that a comma is 1000, it makes sense that if you put 2 commas, it's going to be what? 1,000,000, because it's like 1000, 1000. Do you get it? So now look at this number. This is 1345678. If you do hash comma, it means you're saying, show me scaled by 1,000,000. And that's why it's showing you 1. If you want to see decimal places, then just put 0.00 there. Okay, and let's run this again. And you can see, oh, sorry, did I get that right? Did I put a point there? Doesn't look like what I was expecting. Let me see what is in this cell. Hey, it's not the value in the cell. I was sure that something was wrong. Yeah, because what I expected to see is 1.35 exactly. Like, come on. I'm not that bad with formatting that you now show me the wrong thing. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that scale this number, the 2 commas here mean scale it by 1,000,000, but show me 2 decimal places. So it divides it by 1,000,000 and it shows you 2 decimal places. Okay, so this is good. Then sometimes you may decide that you don't want to show, what's it called? It as just 1.35. It could get people confused. You may want people to see it as 1.35 M. So that people know that, oh, this is what million. So what you just do in that case, this is everything. It's been scaled. Then in front of it, you put the M in double quotes. So what is going to read? It's going to mean scale it by 1,000,000, right? Show 2 decimal places and put an M at the end. So let's try this and see what this shows up as. Do you see that? 1.35 M. This makes more sense, right? At least people can understand that, oh, okay, I'm looking at 1.35, million. If you want to do that, you can always even add, like $1 into it if you want it to show that way. Now, somebody else may want to be very explicit and say, I don't want to show it as M, I want to show it as million. So that's what I've just done here. The format is the same. The only thing is I'm putting the million in what? In double quotes, and it shows as 1.23 million. So everybody can guess how we'll do billion now. What do we need to do for billion? Since we used a comma for 1000, 2 commas for 1,000,000, 3 commas obviously will be a billion. Okay, so once you do 3 commas, you're going to scale that number to get a billion. It's important to know these things so that when you are creating, you can create more intelligent formats. Okay, time, as I used to say in secondary school, is never on the side of the good speaker. Okay, so next one. Next one is scaling by 100. This one is a very crazy one. If you ever want to scale by 100, this is what you need, right? So you have, as in a 0, you put your full stop there, okay, and you put 2 zeros. All right, so that's how you scale by 100. The only thing I've done in this next format is I've added 2 zeros, meaning that it should always have a leading 0. So instead of this being 1.23, that's why it's showing as 01.23. If I add another 0 on this side, it will show as 001 because it means it must have 3 digits before the decimal place. That's just what you need to understand. So I hope you kind of remember 0 and hash. 0 would always introduce insignificant digits. So even if I have two numbers and I say 0, 0, 0, it will have to make sure that my number shows up as if it has those number of digits. But with hash, it doesn't do that. Okay, so that's how you scale if you ever want to scale. Okay, so let me kind of show you, some quick, tricks on this one. On this one, so let's assume that you want to not see text. That if somebody types text in a cell, you want that text to show up as nothing. Okay, you can use formatting for that. There are a lot of things you can do with custom formatting that people will do with conditional formatting, but a lot of it you can still do with custom formatting. So this is the example I'm giving here. I want text to not show. Okay, I want every other thing to show, but not text. So look at this. How many people remember the formatting, the order in which it goes? The first one is what? Positive. The next one is what? Negative. The next one is what? 0. I haven't put anything for the fourth one. So for the fact that I didn't put anything for the fourth, whenever you type a text, it's not going to show anything because it doesn't have a format. So if I type Faraz, why am I picking on you? Faraz. Faraz is my friend. So you see, it's Faraz in that cell, but it doesn't show up. So if you're ever doing some kind of funky things, it could be a dashboard, wherever you want to have, wherever you have text, you don't want it to show up, you could use, as in custom formatting. So what you just do is that you don't supply the formatting for, you don't Faraz is hiding. You don't supply the formatting for text, and that way text doesn't show up. But numbers, as you can see, numbers show up. Okay, numbers show up, but anything text does not show up. Okay, good. So now, what if you wanted to hide numbers? How do you do that? This is the converse, right? In this case, don't forget, the first one is for positives, the second is for negative, the third is for 0, the last is for what? Text. So because I've just put semicolon, 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 it means that I'm saying I'm not putting any formats. If there were formats, I should put things like 0.00, hash.00. Because I'm not putting anything, it means I am only going to have text. So whenever I type a number, positive, it doesn't show up. Okay, wait though. Let me create this format again. Don't embarrass me now. Okay. What's wrong with this guy? Convert to number. Okay. And okay, yes. When it's a number, it doesn't show up. But once it's text, it shows up. Okay. So numbers won't show up. Minus 31. Let's try. Yes. I think I've messed with some things there, but I'll do the formatting there. Okay. So once you put this format, numbers will not show up, but you can see the number is there. Don't forget what I mean. Formatting is only taking it away from the cell. It's not changing the fact that, as in there's a value in there. If you come here and you do equals to this times 2, you will see an answer. Okay, maybe this guy also has the same formatting too. So let's put a general format here. Okay, all right. So you can see that there's a value there. Okay, so that's how you. Now, what if you don't want to see anything at all? You don't want, whatever the person types in the cell, it should never show anything. So what you just do there is just put the 3 separators. So once you put the 3 separators, anything you do, it doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to show up, in the cell. Okay. So I'm saying this too sometimes so that if you get a spreadsheet and you're doing some things and things are looking funny, you probably need to go and check what formatting the person has put, right? If you're typing in a cell and the value keeps disappearing, I know the first thing you would think of is the white font, maybe white font on the white background. That's what's happening. But, these are some of the things that people do to create some of those tricks. So they make sure that, numbers don't show up, only text shows up, or text shows, number don't show, or nothing shows up at all. Okay, so that's kind of how that is. So yeah, because in this case, for example, let's assume you had sales and you don't want to see any 0 sales. If you don't want anything 0 to show up here, you can use this kind of format that we just used. So let's take, what's the format we use that we don't want 0 to show? This is a format. We can use this. Okay, let's do this one the manual way. So I will go to Control 1 and I'll go to Custom and I'll put that format. And let's do OK. So see what happens. All these zeros now, you see that all these zeros are off. They are there, but they are not showing up. If I change this to 0, you can see, as in it doesn't show up. Okay, so there could be cases for that. You just don't want to see it. So you just use the formatting rather than creating another helper column to say if it is 0, show blank. Formatting can help you do it. You people should thank me for that. Somebody was saying Victor doesn't like helper columns. Okay, that's a different conversation. But if you can find a way without using it, why not? Okay, so that's that. So those are some tricks you can use. And like I said, I'll make this workbook available. So you can play around with it. And please watch the video. I would even like to watch it myself and learn from myself. Okay, so now let's look at this one here. Let me see what I was trying to do here. I think I wanted to show. Okay, I wanted to show the underscore thingy. Okay, so let's see. Let me show you guys something. So these are positive numbers and negative numbers. Let's format it in such a way that positives show up as 2 decimal places, negative numbers show up as what's it called in brackets. So watch this. Watch what I'm going to do. Let me do this the classic way. So I'm going to go to custom. Positive numbers I will show as 0.00. I put a semicolon, meaning I'm going to negative now. Negative, I'll put 0.00. All right. Okay, now watch. So you see what's happening. Now, what do you notice? You notice that the decimal place, can everybody see that the decimal places are not aligned? Let me zoom in very well. Because of the brackets, right? The negatives have a bracket before they start. So look at where the dots are for the negative. They are not aligned with the positives. I don't know if everybody can see it, but maybe some of us engineers, we can be freaks of alignment. So in this case, I want to show you an example where you use the underscore. Because what is making it offset, what is making this not align is the fact that there's a bracket on the negative. So what you can do to trick it, somebody said, can I undo? Which part? Let me see. Who is that? Okay, if I pronounce that right, is it Bimal or Bimal? Maybe Bimal. Is it the sales hiding of 0 or the format here I used to change this to? Okay, let me don't worry. Let me just undo this part. I would think it's this one you're referring to. Okay. I did a lot there. Okay, so what I wanted to do here was I just wanted to show, okay, samples. Okay, that's good, thanks. So what I wanted to show here is I want positive numbers to show with, 0.00, something like that, 2 decimal places. Negative should show with a bracket. That's all I want to do. So Control 1, wow, time is gone, man. It's okay. I didn't intend to finish. I just wanted to, whet the appetite. Maybe I was stylishly trying to force them to invite me again. So now this is positive 0.00. Then the negatives, I will put them in brackets. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So negatives will show up with a bracket. So this is what I'm trying to say. So you can see that the decimal places don't align. So what I just want to show you is the underscore. Don't forget that when I was doing my introduction, I mentioned that the underscore leaves a space that is equal to the width of the next character. I want to show you how to use that. So what I'm going to do is that is the parentheses that makes it not align. So what I will do is I will add the width of the parentheses to the positives so that it can kind of create that illusion and align it. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the format, and instead of after the 0.00, right, I will now put an underscore, and after the underscore, I will put a bracket. What this means is that leave a space that is the width of the bracket, because of course the bracket will have a different space from a different width, from like maybe an asterisk or a plus sign. So what I'm saying is that I want you to add a space, but that space should be equal to the width of a bracket, because it's a bracket that is making me not align. So let's do OK and see. Now, do you see that all the dots are now aligned? Okay, so that's where the underscore kind of comes in. The underscore allows you to add, the next character that follows the underscore, the width of that character is going to be used, to create a space. Okay, so let me leave that. So let me come, maybe this is the last thing I will do. Did I do this chart? I know people like charts. No, I'm not going to do the chart. Let me do one other thing I probably want to do. Let me add one more thing to this. Let me add conditions to this. Okay, let me show you guys something that in addition to okay, no, this is not supposed to be for this one. This is using the text function, but okay, it's fine. I won't get to all of that. Let me just show you an example in addition to the colors. Don't forget that I've shown you how the formatting works: positive, negative, 0, and text. Now I added the colors, right? If you remember on this, where is this? Sheet 1 or something. Yeah, here. Okay, so I kind of added a color. Now you can also add conditions. How do these conditions work? You may want a situation where if a number is greater than million, you want it to be formatted with a million format. If it's greater than 1,000, you want it to be formatted with 1,000 format. Now, you don't need to use an if function for this. You don't also need to create conditional formatting and create multiple conditional formatting. If it is this, do this. If it is this, do this. You can do it all in, one in the, what's it called, in custom formatting. But just know that you're limited to 2 conditions. But let me show you an example. So let's put a number like this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's put a number like this. Yeah, let's put one like this. Let's put another one like this. Okay, so let me make this general format Control-Shift-tilde. I know the guy will not agree. Let's do one more. Okay, fine. Okay, so now let me show you how you do this. So what I want to do in this case is this. Watch what I want to do. I want to make, I'm not using, this is not about positive and negative now. This is using conditions in custom formatting. I want to say that if it's greater than 1,000,000, show it like this. If it's greater than 1,000, show it like this. Else, show it like this. So let me show you what I will do. You will start with the square brackets again. The square brackets seem to be conditional because when you want to put a color, which is a condition, like, oh, the color should be this, you use a square bracket. So here I'll put a square bracket and I'll say greater than, let me say greater than equals to 1,000,000. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If it's greater than equals to 1,000,000, what do you want? That's the next thing, right? Sorry, no, this is square bracket. What do I want? Let's assume I also want to use green color, color 10, and I want the format. How do I want the format to look like? I want the format to look something like this. What's my formatting changing to? I want it to show us 2 decimal places and scale it. Million is like this, So what it means is that if it is greater than 1,000,000, this is what it's going to do. It's going to use color 10 and it's going to show it in this way. The next thing, I put a semicolon. Semicolon means I'm going to the next condition. My next condition is if it is greater than 1,000. What does this mean? It means it's greater than equals to 1,000, but less than 1,000,000. If it's greater than equals to 1,000, what do you want? Let me assume here, I want to use blue. And the formatting I want to show here is just, I want to show it maybe just with 2 decimal places. Don't scale it, okay? Then the last condition obviously would mean if it is less than 1,000. If it's less than 1,000, I want you to show in text, say less. Everybody see it? Greater than 1,000,000, show in this color, show this format. Greater than 1,000, show with blue, show with that format. If not, it means it is less. Okay, so now let's put, so that we can put numbers, what's it called? Let's put some numbers here that are less than 1,000. So let's use 900 and let's use here 1,000 on the dot. So let's now change the format of these guys to all I've just written. Now, do you see? See? It means that custom formatting can also work with not just about, colors. You can use conditions. So these numbers that are greater than 1,000,000, you can see what happened. It's showing them with color 10, which is that green shade, right? And for the ones that are, 1,000, greater than 1,000, less than 1,000,000, is showing with blue, no formatting, just normal. And anything less than, 1,000 is showing as what? Less. So in addition to just doing the normal formatting, in addition to doing colors, you can also use it for conditions. But like I said, you can't have more than 2 conditions. So that's why I have only 1, 2, and then the third one is for, every other thing. So I think the last thing I'm going to do and then end this is I'm just going to show the just the chat thingy, something like that, just to give you an idea of this. So there are times that, you want to show, some interesting things with, custom labels. So I'm going to just recreate this chart quickly, if you don't mind. So, right. So here, this is just doing production by year. This is the numeric change year on year, and this is the percentage change. I can change this to percentage, Control Shift and percent, right? Okay, so now let me use this for my chart. I'm going to use these 2 guys. So I'm doing year and production. This is not a visualization class, and I'm not a visualization expert because Bolaji Olatunde is here. So the guy doesn't arrest me for committing some visualization, errors. Okay, so now this is it. You can now decide to add data labels. Okay, everybody can do that. So we go to data labels. So let's do data labels. I like to see the options so I know what I'm doing. Now, you can see that for the data labels, it's showing me with what? The value in that cell, which is the production values. That's what it's showing. But I can decide that I don't want to show the values from that cell. I want to show the percentage change. Okay, so instead of that, I could take this off and say value from cells. and I will pick this percentage change. So what it means is that it's going to be showing me the percentage change on each of them, right? So you can see that, okay? So now this is a percentage change. Now I may want a situation where when it is positive, I want to show a format. When it's negative, I want to show a different format. Okay, so but this would not work in this case, because what you notice is this: when you say values from cell, what always happens is that it uses the formatting from the cell. Okay, so if you really want it to work, I mean, this is just an example I'm showing. If you really want to work, because you are picking the value from this cell, it's a different thing if I plotted the year and the percentage. You know, I plotted the year and the production. I'm only picking the data labels from a cell. So it's going to pick the formatting from the cell. But let me show you the formatting in the cell, for example. So let's do this. Let's format these cells in a way that will be interesting. And that's the last thing I'm just going to do. I can see the time and I'm going to drop it. So let's say positive numbers, I want them to show us, okay, 0%. But in addition to that, I want to put, you know, like an up pointing arrow. Most people do this. So you could do Alt 30. Okay, so Alt 30 is that for positive. Okay, so now let's go to the negative. Let's say negative, I want it to show us in brackets 0%, meaning that it's going to put the, what's it called? It's going to put the number in parentheses, but I want to show a downward arrow here. So I will do Alt 31. That's the downward arrow. Okay, and I could also put colors on them too. I could decide that the up pointing arrows should be color 10. People are like, what is he doing? You know what I'm doing right now. I think I've explained. Then this downward one should be red. Okay, so now let's see. So you do okay. So you can see, it's just that the chart won't pick up the colors, but you can see that in this cell, if you needed a formatting like that, you can see what it is. It's showing you the negatives, and it's showing you, what's it called? The direction signs, like, oh, this one is going down, meaning that there's a decrease here, there's an increase, decrease, decrease. If you plotted the raw numbers, that's if you plotted year and change, of course, you can set the format in the charts, you know, to actually show you, you know, what it is that you want. Even in your, you know, custom, what's it called? Labels, you could use emojis. So like now, for example, let me just do one. If you don't like this up pointing arrow, you may want to use, if you press Windows and semicolon on the Windows, you can use a like this, thumbs up. Okay. Then for this one down, you can use thumbs down. I hope this is thumbs down. This is looking like one funny thing. Okay, but well, maybe it is. Okay, let me just take it. Okay, you do okay. So you see, you kind of have, you know, up, you know, down like that. But this one, of course, is showing the raw format of the colors. But if you picked, you know, the data from the actual, if you're plotting this percentage change, then you will see it exactly as it is. But you can see that you can use it in, you know, in the cells. You could have done the same thing for the axis too. For the axis, you could even put, a condition on the axis to say any number that is greater than 800,000, I want you to show it as green. Let me show you that. So you select the number, you can go to the number format here for the chart, and then let's go to custom. Let me just do this one. So I would just say, I'll put the condition, like say greater than 800, no, let's do 700,000. Greater than 700,000, let's use color 10, just something like that, something simple now in this case. Okay, let's see if that works. So do you see? So you can see now that any number greater than 800,000, 700,000 rather, is showing, you know, as. So you can also use custom formatting even for your axis, for the labels, and, you know, so on and so forth. I know that I hardly ever finish, you know, in 1 hour. Of course, if you look at my sheet, you will see that there are some other tabs, but I think I am at peace with myself that you know, I have tried to do a good job, and I don't want to abuse the privilege. So at this point, I would say, you know, thank you for listening. If there are questions, and if I have some other things, so we can take that. So thank you very, very much for the opportunity. I would share the workbook, and if I would have the recording of sometime during the week, and he will share the link also, so we all can watch and learn together. So I appreciate you taking our time to be here. Thank you very much. Yeah. So can I label the 15% in red? And, all right. So, okay. So Ifeanyi, over to you.
Yo, thanks so much. That's a very, very, very interesting session.
Wow, we have been wow.
Yes.
No, this was simple stuff now. This was simple. No. This is very, very basic thing. Or am I the one assuming? Am I assuming too much? I think it's simple.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you said you need to unmute us.
I have a question though.
Okay, go ahead though.
Okay. Oftentimes you find people who create invoices, say, or like a table of quantity. Say, for example, I sell bags. So many times, you have a column at the side. You have bags, two spoons, things like that. I'm sure you can find a way to format such that if you have, instead of having bag, you can
Correct.
have 2 bags. That's
Correct.
the first one.
Yeah. Let me just
The
what you said.
second one, let me just go straight. Yeah, the second one, how do you do, what you did, you formatted the cell content, the value this time around. How do you do, say, for example, you want to format the field itself, the field of the cell. So if I put yellow, I want it to be filled with yellow, I want the borders to be bold, or if I type in a value, I'm sure something like that can also be, it should also be possible.
Okay, so let me answer.
That's some magic over there, man. I've never seen this before.
Okay.
This thumbs up an emoji, man.
Okay, so let me try and answer. Let me answer the first one. So the first one is easy. The first one is easy. I'm taking for granted here now that again I can format it because I can use conditions. When it is 1, I want to see 1 bag. When it is 2, I want to see 2 bags. So I may put a condition so that 1 is showing as bag, 2 is showing as bags. But let's see. Let's do that. So if I do control 1, right, for those guys. So what I'm going to do is you can see I have the general format. I could do some people. Okay. So the format is there already for the number and I put bags in front. So okay, no more custom formats can be added. Okay, I've added too many. So let me delete some. Just give me a second. I'm going to delete a few because somebody may still ask me something that will require me to delete. So Control N and Alt D. All right. So let's go back to what you said. So we had general, and then I just add bags in double quote. Okay. So that's it. Is that bags? That's an S there. Okay. All right. Good. So that way you see what you want. The only thing that will trip you here is that if you have 1, it's going to show as bags, but you cannot use conditions. So you can say when it is greater than 1, it should be bags, else it should be bag. Okay, so you can do that. The second question about the field. So custom formatting cannot change the field. That's the background field of the cell. If you have to do that, really, you have to use conditional formatting. Oh, well, you go bring out the big guns and you do VBA, but it's only going to change the font color. It can't change the field, sadly. But if anybody can do it, well, I would love to learn it. But in all my learnings and research, yeah, that's not been, done before. But so that's what I know. Okay, so somebody said they want to unmute. Maybe they can raise their hand and ask the questions. If
I've omitted. So I'm actually waiting for her to speak.
Okay, so please go ahead. I think she was just respecting that I was talking, maybe. So go ahead, yeah. Is that Bima?
Yeah, Bima, yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, hi, yes.
It was, I got a very good knowledge from you. Thanks for the session, and it was really wonderful. Late
Thank
night
you.
Sunday from India.
Thanks for joining in.
Yeah. So I had one question, like, wherever it's negative, can I make it red highlighted and in brackets similar to the, like what you did in the percentage change, right? You highlighted in red color. So similar, can I show in the graph?
Oh, okay. So, okay, like in the graph, if it's negative, you want to show it with a bracket, right?
Yes. I want to show it in bracket as well as in red format, because I saw in percentage change, you highlighted all the red, wherever it's negative, it was in red.
Yes.
But
so
in graph, it was in some different color. So can I make the same format, please?
Yes, you can. Sorry, if you don't mind, it may be fine if I just, actually kind of show you. Sorry, give me a second there.
Yeah.
I have my formatting all messed up, so that's okay. So you want to have, let's do some negative and positive. Okay. All right. Okay, sorry, I'm moving faster than my system.
Yeah, that's fine.
That happens. I'm like, okay, I need a new system. All right, so let's see. This may not be the best. It could be, well, whatever. Anyhow it wants to show it. I don't think I'm too bothered with how it's coming. Okay, all of them negative. Let's come here. That's curious, really. All of them just went negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's fine. So now you have this and you want to, so let's say we want to add the data labels, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Correct.
now you're going to add the data labels. Again, you can just check that box. It's not like you can't. So you've done this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay, so sorry, give me a second. Where's this guy? So let's go to more options. So now, so repeat, you want to have negative show up as red font and in red parentheses. That's what you said, right?
yes, correct.
Okay, so let's assume the positives are just showing up as this 0.00. Let's assume that's that. Let's deal with the negatives you want. So negatives, you put a square bracket. In square bracket, you type red. So this red will make sure that it is red color. Then you now open a bracket, you know, and then put maybe 0, maybe depending on how you want it to show. You might want to show it as 1 decimal place. So what this means is positives will show with 2 decimal places, negative will show with a red font, and will show in parentheses and with 1 decimal place. So let's see if that works.
Okay.
So do you see? So now you can see that I can put this format for you maybe on the chat, you know, if you can see it well or something, you know. So let me just paste it here so you kind of see what I did. Okay, so what I just did is positives. I just did normal. Then negatives, if you look at the charts, I have red font, and then I put the parentheses to make it. Then the 0.0, that 0.0 is making it 1 decimal place. If I wanted it to show as 2 decimal places, it would be 0.00. You know, so that's really, so you can do all of them in one. You can even add a condition on top of it and all of that. But I think that's a fantastic question. I hope it's clear. If there's anything, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, you know, please. You have all my details there.
Yeah, I mean, I had one more question actually, Vic.
Okay.
So what would be the business case? So for example, we are explaining all these format things, and how we can implement this. See, I'm from TCS and I'm from an investment capital market portfolio. So I just want to know how I can implement this one in my project so that my workload will be little less. So how do you explain the root cause analysis or something which will be help in my business?
Okay, so I'm not an expert in your business, so, but again, I would say that maybe this is not one of those maybe efficiency type classes. What I mean is that I don't think this will necessarily make your work any faster. It may just make it more visually appealing. I understand your question. You know, there are some things we do, like when I say, oh, if I show you shortcuts now, shortcuts can make your work faster. So instead of typing so many things, but this one is not one of those things that will make you maybe more efficient. It may not reduce the time you spend, but it may just reduce, you know, it may just make your presentations look more visually appealing, you know. So this. If it's an efficiency class, of course, we can talk about, oh, yes, do it this way. It's going to make you save some time. But this one is really more around, you know, presentation and how things appear. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Vic, I mean, it was really amazing. I literally joined 15 minutes late. I apologize.
Oh, sorry. You just watch the recording, you'll be fine.
And I will do the recordings. It was really amazing and thankful to you. And I learned so many things, and it's a very good thank you from India as well.
Thank you so much.
Please keep doing the things, and I will keep looking the invites as well. Thank you, man.
Okay. Thank you. Well done. All right. Okay. So, okay, Faraz. Okay, you find what's going on with you and Faraz?
I thought it was this week.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it. Except there's any other question, but. Yeah, we can always, the next level I was going to take you to, not next level, but the next thing I wanted to do was to use the text function, you know, to do those formatting. But like I said,
you can.
Oh no, I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace. I'm very good this year. Let's leave it at that.
So I guess the next session next month.
Yes, we already fixed one for one next month.
Let me check. Well, I think so.
Okay, no, it's okay. We can talk about that offline. Okay. Yeah, so I can either come back, complete part 2. I can have something else, but yeah, anybody who has any questions, please reach out to me.
I've kept Victor's details, LinkedIn, Twitter, and you should subscribe to it.
Thank you so much.
He actually posts a lot.
We will look for the videos as well, and definitely I'm going to connect Victor in LinkedIn. So let's have a good chat as well. Yeah.
Please do. Please do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You should Bimal
No.
join the My Data Summit is also coming up soon.
Okay.
Where
Yeah, if I you could talk a
something-
bit about that. Maybe
Okay, Faraz can. Yeah,
the
Faraz,
data
please go ahead.
We'll
Can
talk
you,
a bit
you can
about
talk about it? Yeah, thank you, Faraz. Go ahead.
Yeah, Victor is going to present something about PowerQuery with VBA. So that would be really interesting to see as well, Bimal.
Yeah, definitely for us. I'm there.
Do I-
I'm going to follow Victor, so definitely I'm going to reach all. Whatever invite and summit is going to there, I will be the audience. Not to worry.
Okay, good. I think we have a hand up. Oladi. Yeah.
Day.
Okay.
So Oladi, I've made you a speaker so you can unmute and
Oladi,
no,
I
this
think you.
actually
Oh.
Victor didn't use any VBA. This was just Excel actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's active used.
It's
No,
okay.
but
No, so the only there's a VBA behind, but the only thing the VBA is doing, the VBA was just to help. No, someone is saying the XLSN file. No, okay, it's not an XLSN file, as you can see, it's XLSX. And the reason it's XLSX is because the macro that is doing the work is in the personal macro workbook. That the word just left my head. So it's in the personal macro workbook. It's not sitting in here. All I'm doing really, it's a simple line of code. I'm only saying, well, if you want, I mean, I'll show you. I don't have a problem doing that. Yeah, this is it. So this all I'm doing here. I'm just saying that the cell I'm in, the number format you should use for it is from the cell that is one to the left of it. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so meaning that for the current cell I'm in, you will get the format from the cell to the left of it. That's why you notice that every time I did it, I always had, you notice if this is the value, the format is in the left. That's all. I set it up that way. So then all I did was now to add it to the quick access toolbar, which is this button here. So once I then do Alt and in this case 4, if I do Alt 4, it's going to execute that macro. So that's really what I was doing. So it's not anything complex, just make life easy for yourself.
Hello.
So that's, yes.
Bye.
Oh, is Faraz talking?
Yeah. So hello, you can. This is Olalade.
Okay, Olalade. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Olalade has the floor. I don't think he's been able to unmute.
I've given him. Yeah, I've made him. It's a speaker. You can unmute. You just need to.
Okay.
So
we don't even know if he's a he. We don't know if he's a he or a she. Anyway.
He's a he or she.
Sorry, this is my. Okay, well, I don't know. Or if Olalade can't speak, Olalade can chat, maybe. I don't know.
Victor, it was a really great session.
Thank you. Thank you, Faraz. It's always a pleasure having you in my sessions, Okay,
Yeah.
Thanks for the support always, Wisdom's hand is up too. Okay, I think Wisdom.
Yeah, so I've made Wisdom, but some reason you can speak since you can also mute.
Victor, I'm just thinking that in the starting of the session, you showed that you can precision formatting, which is there.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, and I never tried it out, but right now I'm thinking like, if you have applied those kind of formatting on your columns, how that would behave? Means, will it still accept it as 2? Like we are saying it 1.2 billion. Let's say that this number is 1.2 billion. So it is going to calculate 1.2. Because it's seeing that, right? It will behave like that. Right?
Yeah, so whatever it's seeing is what it's going to is what it's going to be. So it means that this value now, essentially would become, what it is that we are seeing. So if you notice that time when I did 1.5 and 2, it was 1.5.
Yeah.
The moment I set it to 2, when I did precision, it changed it from we can choose to mess. So this value now, let's look at this one. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Yeah, so we might as well just do it. We can mess everything up and come back and fix it. Okay, so let's see what's going to go wrong this time. Set precision as displayed. Okay, data will permanently lose accuracy, and you've been warned, but we'll still go ahead stubbornly. Okay, so now let's see what happens here though. Okay, this one, but this guy changes this. Okay, so some of them didn't seem to change, but I noticed some things have changed though. These values were, okay, there was one that was 1,000. This one has changed to 0. Well, some things have gone wrong. Honestly, I cannot tell what has gone wrong. But some things have gone wrong.
No problem.
No,
Just,
but of course,
try it out.
that's why I always say it's not a setting to use. But at least I always do the simple ones, which is like, oh, if I change it from 1.5 to 2, it becomes 2. So for the complex format, yeah, maybe I need to try it out, a little more. But it's not a setting to use. I think it's just something to know.
It warned you,
It warned you, right? So if you stubbornly went ahead, then whatever comes your way, you take it that way. So I'm waiting for the guys who want to speak. Wisdom. Are you sure they can unmute themselves? Are you sure?
Yeah, they can mute themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
They
Okay,
are
Wisdom.
Okay,
hi,
so,
Wisdom.
Okay,
How you
so Wisdom speaking.
Good evening. I thought I joined late. I saw that you are doing a formatting which has to do with set or column. I just wanted to ask a question, probably you can do it, whereby if we have maybe a particular cell or a column that has one in thousands as a million, and you want to format in such a way that if a particular number is actually a million, you should have it maybe something 2 point something M, and if that particular cell is also in thousands, it should be like maybe 2 point something K.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get the question.
Yeah, I got the question. That's exactly what I did, here, but maybe you didn't catch it. So give me a minute. Sorry. Sorry, where's my cursor? Okay, my cursor is here. Just give me a second. I'll do what you're saying. Let's go to. Sorry. Since I'm here, I've finished speaking. You guys are the ones keeping me. You're the ones answering the questions. So don't say Victor spent. So let's do 1,000, and then let's do what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's this 7. So this should be like million, right? So some are in millions, some are in thousands. That's kind of what you're saying, right? So
yes.
Yeah. So now let's do it with the real formatting here. Let's come here. So we go to custom. So we'll just set it up the same way. We'll say if it is greater than 1 million, I'm using equal to greater than 1 million. I have 6 zeros there, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to show it as, I'll scale it, comma, and I'll put it as M. Sorry, my art is moving around. Okay, hold on. Okay, good. So I put this as M. Now the next one, I put a semicolon. So next condition. Next condition is greater than or equals to 1,000. Here, I'm going to scale it maybe once. I'm going to scale it once. I'm going to show 2 decimal places, scale it once. And I'm going to put it in K, which is thousands. Then any other thing, I'm just going to format it as 0.00. Okay, something like that. But there's no other thing here, I think. Okay, so wait, something is not right. Let me see what I put at the end of this guy here. 0.00. I should put comma. Maybe I put a full stop. Okay, so that's kind of what you're saying. So again, well, 670,000, 1.08 million, any other thing less than that will show with a normal format. So if I put 123 here, it's going to show so something is wrong. Something is still wrong. Sorry, I'm not able to see it so well. Yeah, so this positive, negative, greater than 1,000, greater than this. So that one, I said 0.00. Let me see. Kind of feels like it should be fine. Okay. What number is this? 0. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Oh. Sorry. Do you know what's causing the problem? This is what's causing the problem. Faraz has put me in trouble.
We forgot to change it.
Yeah. That's what's, it tripped me like twice. I'm like, okay, hold on. What's going on here? Yeah, I will only change this in training sessions, never in a live session. Okay, so good. Let's say that's it. Okay, let's now change this to 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's what I wanted to show. I wanted to show that when the number is less than 1,000, it's going to show up as is. When it's greater than or equals to 1,000, it's going to show up with a K. And then when it's greater than 1 million, it's going to show up with an M. One other thing I just add, just for people who don't know that, there's a backslash. You can use a backslash in this formatting. The backslash is to say that the next character, I want you to show it as is. Okay, so instead of putting this double quote M double quote, you could have just put a \M, meaning that show the next character as is. So I could have done \M. Here I could have done \K. That's something I thought, but I didn't. So I can just do \K, right? Something like that. Yeah. Maybe I've made a mistake there. Okay, so this is, yeah, that's supposed to work. \K. Where's my \M? There's a double quote here somewhere, I think. \M. Sorry, I'm straining my eyes to see this. I need to go change my glasses. Yeah, I can't get that on this one. So maybe I'll come here. You come here, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So we kind of did what 0.00, comma. I want to do /m. Okay, then I said if it is greater than equals to 1000, I want to do 0.001, comma, and here I want to do /k. Let me see what I'm doing wrong. Then else I want to do 0.00. Okay, so let's take this down. Let's run my macro. Okay, so you see that box. So you don't have to necessarily put it as double quote M double quote. The / also works in the formatting because there are some characters that you have, like the underscore has a special meaning. So if you have to use the underscore and you want it to show an underscore in the formatting, you have to put a / before the underscore. Else the underscore will not show because the underscore means leave a space that is equal to the width of the next character. So a / is also something we use here. I couldn't talk about that, but that's that. Okay, so I think I've answered your question, Wisdom.
Yeah, yes, thanks very much.
Yeah, pleasure. Okay. The mystery person with the hand up that isn't talking. Or maybe the person is speaking, but we can't hear. I kind of see as if the person is talking. If I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's okay. Yeah. So if there are no more questions, well, I'm here. I know you guys have another session by 6. So yeah, but is Ifeanyi still here?
I can't find it too. So, and it's been a very wonderful one. For me, I picked that condition part, so I'm going to try and maybe find somewhere to use it. So any other comments, Rock? Let me just check if there are any last questions so it doesn't seem we skipped anybody.
Yeah, please, I mean, I would really love to answer every question, so long as I have the answer, You
will have the answer. I've checked and all is good. So thank you to everyone.
Okay.
At this juncture, I think we will close the session. Thanks a lot, Victor, for this as expected anyway. So I'm not surprised that we're getting this much. It's just that we'll wait for next month to get some other ones you have that you couldn't get to, I think.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I think I did more than I thought I would. So thank you for the opportunity again. I always appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So I have a very wonderful Sunday to everyone. And if you're interested in Power BI, there's another one happening in about 37 minutes. That is on Power BI. Maybe I'll just put it in the chat box, but
please do. They need to be there.
The good thing is the chat box, you will still access it even after I end the session. So I'll end the session. I'll go get the link, put it there. You can join that one.
I think somebody even puts it there. I think I saw it kind of earlier. Is it with Festus, right? With Festman?
Yes.
Yes, I saw it in the chat, but I'm not too sure where. Again. Yeah, but maybe if I put it there. Yeah, you can get it and just put it there.
I've seen it. I will just repost it now. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks for mentioning that. That saves me
time. I saw it. I kind of saw it while I was scrolling through the chat. Yes.
Great. So thank you once again. Thanks to everyone. Thanks Faraz. Thanks Bimal. Thanks Wisdom. Thanks Ololade. Thanks everyone. Tunde. Everyone who joined and contributed and chatted and talked. Have a very wonderful week ahead. Bye.
Thank you.